In this video, I'm going to walk you through Orchestral Essentials 1 and 2 by Project Sam. They've been around for a long time, but they've recently had a massive overhaul. And in my opinion, will take you further than some of the other orchestral stuff that you might already have, or if you're new to it, you might really benefit from it. I'm not getting paid to make the video, but they send me the software for free. I have an affiliate link in the description, so if you do want to buy it, that's a way to help me out. But don't buy it if it's not right for you. So we'll see what's in there, what isn't in there. I'll let you know, my thoughts on different articulations as we go through them. I'm going to try and spend 1 hour and come up with a little idea playing through some of the patches. Let's get into it, have a look at Orchestral Essentials 1 and 2, and see if this package is right for you. And I've got it set up on complete control so I can get the full experience on my keyboard. Let's see what happens when we go to the browser on this guy. Sorry, I don't have a top-down camera, but yeah, it looks like we have the full browser experience on complete control if you have that. So that's great. I'm not going to use that right now just so you can see what I'm doing. This library has benefited from a major update. So it looks like we're at version 2. This is great to see that they've given it the same treatment that they've done to Symphobia and all the Symphobia libraries. You just click anywhere and choose the instruments that you want. So we can see Orchestral Essentials has a lineup of instruments, and then we go over to Orchestral Essentials 2, and we're going to get some different articulations, different instruments, and stuff like that. So we'll go to the strings section, and you see that that's it. You just load up something called strings section. There isn't basses, cellos, violas, and violins. You just kind of get everything all in one. You also see some combinations here. So we've got violins and flutes, cello and contrabass. So that one I understand. You've got legato patches for cello and the basses. We go to the string section, and I'm going to close that one, and we can see the articulations. So let's just have a listen to the articulations that we've got. And if I go down, I can see my key switches on my keyboard. Okay, so the mod wheel controlling dynamics. We've also got something that says volume, and on my keyboard I can control that right there. I would probably always crank that up. That way we can start off smaller and get to full volume. That sounds great. Pretty good, but we don't actually have legato, like true legato, when you're going from one note to another. And maybe that portamento sound that you hear exaggerated on some libraries. We've got staccato. Not super short. I'd love to see more of a staccatissimo or spiccato. Those are some of the articulations I end up using a lot with other libraries. Tremolo, going back and forth, and then pizzicato. That sounds great. It bothers me when libraries don't have a pizzicato patch, and that sometimes happens. That's fun. Getting into some of the Symphobia territory there. All right, so there's our main strings in Orchestral Essentials. Really quickly go look and see what we've got in terms of strings in Orchestral Essentials 2. We do have a violins section. So we've got con sordino, which is with a mute. It means with a mute. And the mute just gives a much more subdued sound to the strings. And it's an actual device that they'll put on the instruments. So next time you go to orchestra, watch carefully. You'll see them do that every once in a while. Crescendo. So maybe this crescendo has some kind of adaptive thing that happens with the tempo of your project. So my tempo right now, 120 beats per minute, so let's see what happens. Let's change that to 2 beats. Yeah, okay, that's what that is. Let's set it to 8 beats and see what happens. Yeah, so 8 beats. That's cool, because these crescendos are pretty much useless if it's just one fixed time, because it's not going to work with your song. So anyways, that's cool. We got some more textures in here. Random stuff and effects. Oh, that's fun. So if you're, scoring a horror movie, you're good to go. Then if we go to the violins, here we get pizzicato or spiccato, so that's what I wanted in the other one. And if you play harder, you get a grace note. So that could be kind of tricky to play with. Let's go over to advanced and see if there's ways we can, let's try playing with this. Offset the incoming note velocity by plus 51. So now you can see everything I'm playing is triggering the grace note. Obviously it's cutting off at a certain point. But if I go negative, now I have to play a lot harder to hit that grace note. I like that. Okay, sul ponticello, and that just means when you play with the bow closer to the bridge so that you get kind of a brighter sound, more harmonics. Here it sounds kind of a little bit more aggressive. Let's go play in some strings. And I've got reverb right here as well. That sounds nice. Okay, that sounds nice. Maybe I'll change that last chord up. Actually, do you know what we should do next, just so I don't have the click police get after me, is we're gonna add some percussion, see what we've got in there, just so I can turn the click off. Gran Casa, bass drum. You got rolls. Nice. Shift and click to multi-load. Let's see. Oh, look at that. If I hold shift and click on those, now I get all the articulations up at the same time. And then we'll see if we can get some kind of other percussion type thing. Tom-toms, we've got cymbals, timpani. We're definitely gonna want some kind of cymbal. And it looks like it's got that icon again, which probably means we can do a swell that's timed to the beat of the music. That is so cool. Let's try a vibraphone. I love that they've got a vibraphone in here. Not something you usually see in smaller orchestral libraries. Turning up the reverb. Let's have a look at what kind of orchestral snare we've got. Drag in Orchestral Essentials 1. Got snare. That's really cool. So we got the side stick. We've got snare drum. We've also got field drum, which is a slightly different kind of snare drum. Nice. And we've got the snare off. Sounds more like a tom-tom, but that's great. So really digging that snare. That's kind of an important one. Let's turn up reverb. Okay, let's call that snare. Let's go to a harp. I love harp. That sounds really nice. What I'll do for the harp is just copy the vibes part down so they're both doing the same thing. Let's have a listen to that. See what we've got for winds. We've got woodwind section, flutes and clarinets. Let's go to woodwind section. I'm going to crank up the volume and then crank up the reverb a bit and turn down my mod wheel. So really clarinety here, really fluty and probably getting up to the piccolo, all right? Now into oboe, bassoon, and then down into contrabassoon probably. Nice. Choosing your instruments based on location, I guess. It just sounds really good though, that's the thing. That's really neat. Overblown flute staccato. Nice, we got some Titanic action there, all right. Let's also go look over at Orchestral Essentials 2 and see what we've got for woodwinds in there. Okay, so now we've got actual flute and oboe, bass clarinet and contrabassoon, legato, flutes and piccolo together, that makes perfect sense. Recorder, woodwind effect. There's a ton of patches and articulations in here. You're not limited to combinations, which is really, really cool. So the thing you don't have here is control over the vibrato, but it does sound beautiful. And you can hear it's legato. Let's try something in there. So let's go over to our brass now. Maybe we'll try epic French horns. Let's try the horns and trombones. Sounds great. Let's go over to the other library and see what we've got. Full brass section, trumpet, French horn, trombone, and then horns and trombones, legato. Okay, let's just try the brass section. Staccato. That sounds really good. Okay, muted staccato. I'm sure I've got a mute around here somewhere. There's a trumpet mute. Put that in the bell of the trumpet. Okay, so I've got my brass part in there, but you know what I should do is go and add those epic French horns in the second half. So I'm going to go pull that one up. All right. Okay, that sounded really nice. You know what? Let's duplicate those epic horns and see if we can get this line into some other instruments that will, make it even more epic. And one thing I'm not even looking at is these multis. Something tells me these are really cool. Make sure you go check out some videos because these multis, I'm guaranteeing, are going to offer you some really interesting sounds. Anyways, something to look at. I know that in Symphobia, they're really cool. So let's go to the horns and trombones and see if that one will add another layer, maybe an octave below that other French horns one I've got. It sounds amazing. Okay, let's go with that. Maybe we do some trumpets on top of that as well. So let's duplicate this track one more time. And if I had time, I'd want to go in and put in some mod wheel dynamics in here on all the tracks. Start out with the strings and have some swells on each of those chords. Just write them in, and I can show you how I would do that. Let's go over to strings, and we'll just press record. Okay, here we go. There it is, Celesta. You'll hear it at the beginning of Home Alone and Harry Potter. I was wondering why my mix was all heavily weighted towards the right. It's because I've been duplicating tracks and they were all panned to the right. All right, I thought that was something in the software itself. Looks like we've got all the percussion you're going to need to pull off an orchestra, which is fantastic. And that to me is what makes this little package so great, is that they've got everything you need to make a little soundtrack with a full orchestra. They've even got some Japanese percussion, so maybe some big taiko style drums. One more look at Orchestral Essentials 2 to see any other little things that I've missed out on. Tuba, bell tree, so you got those chimes. Well, let's put a cymbal in at the end. We'll call this thing done for an hour. So let's see if we've got cymbals. There we go. So we've got the cymbal in there at the end, and we'll have a listen to this whole idea. But I gotta say, this library definitely looks perfect for somebody who wants to get into orchestral writing, or somebody who just wants to expand their palette of orchestral instruments. You might have a couple libraries already. These instruments sound really great. They're all playing nicely. They're playing nicely together, and very intuitive controls. And I think I'm only dabbling in some of the hidden features that are in this software. And the thing with orchestral stuff is I'm still using libraries that I got 15 years ago. You know, the technology hasn't changed that much, but it's neat to see what Project Sam has done with their samples here, because the samples sound good. They've always sounded good, but they're tweaking it and they're improving it. And I love to see that they keep doing that. And a lot of times their updates are free. So anyway, it seems like a no-brainer. If you need orchestral stuff, I would highly recommend this. And thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell if you're new here. And we'll see you in the next video.